welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show that sorts the facts from the fibs. On David Mitchell's team tonight, from the Big Breakfast to Big Brother, it's presenter AJ Odudu. And joining us for his first appearance, comedian Darren Harriott. And on Lee Mack's team tonight, can she be trusted? From the Traitors, it's Diane Carson. And a stand-up from Down Under, Sam Campbell. We start with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists read out a statement from the card in front of them. To make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They've no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. AJ, you're first up.
I once had to leave a hen do because the stripper turned up and it was my old English teacher.
Lee's team.
Wow, OK.
When did you recognise him, immediately or halfway through the act?
Well, you used to be a teacher, didn't you, Diane? Is this ringing bells? You never stripped?
God, no.
This is why you've never been a chat show host.
But she left before he stripped, right?
No, I had to leave a hen do because I was so embarrassed. I couldn't look him in the eye.
You're not supposed to, are you? What part of this strip was he at when you left?
I watched the full Monty, of course I did. Have you ever been to a stag do or a hen party with as a stripper?
Right, David, no.
They hang around after, because they don't just leave immedially.
Not to chat. They sort of go, now I've stripped and now I will mingle.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the show? Actually, I'm an English teacher as well, so...
Did he recognise you?
Yeah.
How could you tell? What, you made eye contact or something?
It was just it was an awkward strip.
An awkward strip?
He looked visibly embarrassed.
Was the strip at all a classroom theme? Did he have, like, the dusters, like...
No, he didn't.
Maybe a bit of chalk or something like this?
But that would have been really good.
The tie spinning around.
I don't know, because I know some strippers are sort of themed, they turn and look like a police officer or a fireman, and that's... Not sure teacher is the right... I think it feels like it's more of a complicated message they're putting
So
out.
I've got your essays back.
So what are you thinking? Sam, what do you reckon?
So, you know the stripper wharf and emerged from a cake? What if he came out of, like, a giant school lunch?
Yeah, I think we've established it wasn't school-themed.
It's good that you're working on his act for it.
So, Lee, what's your team going to say?
What do we think, Sam?
Maybe when he starts, he'd go, my name is... He writes his name on the wall.
I think we have established it's not a school-themed. Lee?
So you think it's true or not?
True, absolutely, every time.
I think it's a lie.
I think you're too classy for that kind of tawdry event, AJ.
So, they're saying it's a lie. Was it a lie, or was it actually the truth?
Well, Lee, it is a lie!
Yes, it's a lie. AJ didn't leave a hen do because she knew the stripper. Darren, you're next.
Oh, yeah. Whenever I have a bath, I always sit in the empty tub first, then turn on the taps.
Lee's team.
How long for?
Well, depends what I'm doing.
What might you be doing while you're sitting in an
sometimes
empty
shaving
bath?
my head.
In the bath?
Yeah.
Well, when you put the bath on, all the hairs are floating in the bath.
Well, I don't know, maybe it goes down the drain before I turn it on.
Well, how the hell does it go down if you haven't turned it on? You got a massive straw? Are you naked at this point, by the way?
Of course I am!
Don't talk to me like I'm the idiot. You're sitting in the bath with no water in it, mate.
I just find it very comfortable. I also quite like the fact that it's quite cold in there.
I was going to
as well.
say, that's the problem, right? You're going to have a cold bottom.
What about additives like a bubble bath or some bath salts? Which do you favour?
Yeah, bath salt.
Oh, do you like to put the salts in first on their own? Just sit on there like a really miserable slug.
I just don't believe one word of it. Why would you sit in a bath and shave your head?
I can't shave my hair outside. I don't have a garden. So I realised when I was shaving...
Weirdly, I do have a garden. I've never realised what I was supposed to be using it for.
Can I ask a question? You're shaving your head. Are you manscaping?
Every now and again.
Would you explain to David what manscaping is?
It's sort of shaving and making sure everything looks neat and tidy. Like
a golf course.
Like a golf course.
Let's just do a little poll here. Is there any single person in this audience, just put your hand up, who gets into the bath with it empty, sits there naked, and then watches as the water slowly rises up?
All right, Rob, you don't have to say
Because
like that.
that's...
There's a few people.
Really?
That's weird, because it's all the bald men.
What are you thinking, Sam? Truth or lie?
Would you be open to shaving other men in the bath?
Sam, we're a pre-watershed show.
It sounds all right, I don't know.
Is he telling the truth?
For a long time, I thought he was, but then some of the stuff Lee was saying, I was like, all right. I would say that I believe Lee in some of the things that
It's not me doing it, it's him.
I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie? Yeah, we'll say it's a lie.
They say it's a lie. Was it a lie, Darren, or was it true?
It is a lie. I do turn my head back.
Yes, it's a lie. Darren doesn't sit in the bath as it fills. Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. This week, each of Lee's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest. It's up to David's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Dawn. So, Diane, what is Dawn to you?
So this is Dawn. She's the tarot card reader whose warnings I chose to ignore while I was in the traitor's house.
Sam, how do you know Dawn?
This is Dawn. She's the reporter who hired me to work undercover in a disgusting restaurant kitchen.
And finally, Lee, what is your relationship with Dawn?
This is Dawn. I accidentally set a frog loose in her chemist.
So there we have it. Diane's mystic mate, Sam's covert colleague, or Lee's frightened pharmacist. David's team, where will you begin?
Well, Diane, so she's a tarot reader. Tell us what happened.
I'll set the scene.
Right.
It was Christmas, so we all happened to be quite ill, and we were being sick.
All right.
So normally at Christmas, when I've got all the family together, I'm really busy cooking, you know, wrapping presents, making everything joyful to everybody, playing board games. That's our sort of a Christmas. So this particular Christmas, we were all really, really ill. And my kids said to me, Traitors is on. And I went, no, I don't want to see it. And they just put it on anyway. Mm-hmm. So we watched the last episode together.
The final?
Of the first series.
Yeah, you just watched that?
Yeah.
No point watching the final of the second series. She knows what happens.
Yeah. And I thought, oh, I think I could do this. That looks like fun.
Can I just check, if we're all going this far back in the story, can I mention about the time that my frog was a tadpole?
I'm just setting the scene.
You are definitely setting the scene. We're still not at the series you were in yet.
So you've seen the last episode, you like it.
And I said, I can do this. And my kids said, no, you'd be too gobby, you'd be too opinionated, you wouldn't get on. So then I said, no, I'd be OK, I'd be OK at the challenges. And they said, well, you would never be able to blend into the background, not be opinionated, you'd be too noisy. No, I haven't got to that part yet.
No, we know that. We know that. I'm looking forward to hearing about Dawn's childhood.
So anyway, one of them flippantly sent me an application form. Now, I was worried if I did watch Traitors, I would be too scared then to continue with the application form, so I didn't watch it. So then...
But you watched the final?
I'd watched the final.
You watched the final?
Usually people interrupt to pad out the stories. You don't need to do that.
Stop it! You're distracting me! I'm telling you the story. Next time I want David's team, please, have that note.
Whoa.
Right.
Next time.
So, right, when you're going through the audition process, they kept advising us to watch the first series.
Yes.
And I still didn't want to, so then I decided I would ring up and...
I know you're not supposed to talk on this show. Have you ever met her? Yes or no?
Dawn, not a word, nothing.
So anyway, I decided to contact a tarot card reader. So I went round to Dawn's house and she laid out the cards and she basically warned me of a snake that was to come.
Right.
And she told me I needed to do my research.
But you ignored her advice.
Well, no, I took half of it.
Right.
The week before I went into the castle, I watched the first series.
Not until she said, do your research.
Yes. And then she said, beware of a snake.
Right.
What's your
So-
favourite breed of snake?
You don't know about Sam's chat-up lines, do you?
So I happened to be in a challenge and we were all in these dry suits and people were taking off their tops and so on and so forth. And I happened to notice a tattoo on Harry's chest.
Harry's the one who eventually won.
Yeah.
And he had a snake on his chest.
Wow, OK.
That's like what the fortune teller warned about.
She's a tarot reader.
The tarot reader. I should have spotted Harry had a snake tattoo and I should have gone for Harry.
OK. Right, who would you like to quiz next?
Sam, what's your story?
She hired me to go undercover at a disgusting, filthy restaurant.
Why you?
Ooh, so I was interning at the Courier Mail where all this went down.
There's a newspaper in Australia called the Courier Mail. What's the circulation, approximately?
Well, welcome to the fun.
The circulation, I thought you'd never ask. So that is... It's all sort of Brisbane, all around that area. This is a big paper.
I'm sorry to ask questions that you find inappropriate, Sam, but is the Courier Mail a national newspaper in Australia?
No, it's statewide.
But one state of Australia.
But states are huge in
Yes, I
Australia.
know, but, you know...
Well, you
nevertheless-
sound as though you don't.
What I'm trying to get to the bottom of here, Rob, is that this is a big expose on one restaurant. Now, I would say that if it was a national newspaper, that wouldn't be plausible. State-wise, maybe.
What kind of restaurant was it? What kind of food?
Italian.
Italian?
Yeah.
Why did you wave your hands like that, like an Italian? It's an Italian.
How did you come into contact with the paper? How did she find you?
I was interning there because I wanted to be AJ, a journalist. So it was all the interns. We all applied for this job at September's The Italian Restaurant, and I was the one who happened to get the job as a dish pig.
What's a dish pig?
Washing the plates.
Washing the plate.
And that's what they call you?
Yeah, a little dish pig.
Oh, well, that's really good for your ego, isn't it? Oh, they're lovely, the Australians, aren't they?
Remind us of what it is that you are sniffing around trying to uncover.
Truffles.
Basically, things like rats and, like, sort of, yeah, some reheating.
Rats, did you say?
They weren't reheating the rats. The rats are so... Yeah.
But did you bond with everyone then?
I worked there for 4 months.
You just carried on working there.
This is the thing. I was bonding with people, and so I was like, oh, no, it's all pretty legit. And I never squealed.
Did you, at any point, sort of confer with Dawn about what was going on?
There was one meeting where I said, yeah, there's no story here. And then there was just emails about it. Anything yet? Nothing yet.
So how did it come to a close, then?
Oh, no, I just worked there for 4 months and then kept on with my university studies, stopped doing journalism and actually got into a sort of a career in comedy.
And what did you do after that?
That's nasty. You are nasty. You take it back.
Right, David, what about Lee Mack? He's the one in the middle.
Lee's probably true.
Just remind us, Lee.
This is Dawn, and Diane's story took so long that she's changing her name to Evening. This is Dawn. I accidentally set a frog loose in her chemist.
Can I ask why you had a frog and how it managed to get loose?
Yes, you can.
If you don't mind.
Oh, go on, ask it.
Why did you...
Turns out Darren can't answer. Let me ask, how did you have a frog and how did it get loose?
Is that what you want to ask, Darren?
That's what I wanted to do.
Well, I'm not doing it until I hear you ask me.
Why did you have a frog and how did it get loose?
Did you say frag?
I don't think anyone heard that.
Oh, we all heard it.
The frog there. So
Why did you say frag?
I tried to do an accent, I kind of lost it.
You're from Birmingham, aren't you?
Yeah, from the West Mids, yeah. All right.
No, that's not what you're getting it wrong. That's an American accent. So you're frog.
Lee, mate, why did you have a frog and how did you lose it?
Good question, Darren. I was walking down the road with my daughter Millie, and I came across
a frog.
A frog.
A frog. In the middle of the road or on the pavement?
It was sort of. It was on neither.
OK.
It was about a third of the way to the middle of the road.
OK.
We saw the frog.
Yeah.
In the road.
Yeah.
And it wasn't jumping around much.
Wasn't jumping.
Correct.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah, because if it had been jumping around a lot, I wouldn't have been able to answer David's question so easily, would I? Where was it? It was on the curb, it was on the pavement, it was on the middle, it's on the left, it's on the right, it's gone back on the curb, it's gone down. We'd have been here all day, and no one wants that in a story, do they?
No one wants that. I do.
So the frog was stationary.
Well, no, you couldn't use them as a pencil sharpener. Yes, the frog was not moving.
Yeah.
OK. So how did you catch him?
I had a coffee cup that was virtually empty, and I went up to the frog slowly. I could see he was alive, because it was... And I thought, if he's doing that with his hand, he must be alive. And so I got up there, and I just sort of put him in. He jumped in the coffee cup. I put the lid back on the coffee cup, so now I can go back to Costa and get a free coffee, because I can say... I found this at the bottom of my cappuccino.
Now, where does Dawn come into this story?
Well, first thing in the morning, wasn't it?
Where does this Dawn enter the story?
Sorry. Well, Dawn is Dawn of Dawn's chemist. I'm in the shop and I'm waiting, making small talk.
Yes.
Me and Dwight. I know Dawn a bit. We're talking about her brothers. They're both farmers, actually.
Yeah.
Farmer A, Farmer B. She's Farmer C. And... I just was very forgetful for a moment. So went like that.
Oh, no.
Went like that. Felt the movement. Whoa, oh, my God! And in the action of doing that, it bounced against the lid dislodged, and the frog got loose.
And he's hopping around?
Now he's off like a shot.
He's woken up. He's had the equivalent of 19 coffees.
And how did Dawn respond? That's the whole thing here. I mean...
She said, come on, get the frog, get the frog.
So she's behind the counter, just going, get the frog, get the frog.
No, she was multitasking. She's going, get the frog, get the frog, get the tablets for Mrs. Green. Get the frog, get the frog. It's on the top counter, I've told you before.
How does the story conclude?
It doesn't. That was 3 years ago. My daughter's still in that chemist looking for it. Social services have got involved, and the RSPCA.
We need an answer. So, David's team, is Dawn Diane's mystic mate, Sam's covert colleague, or Lee's frightened pharmacist?
What do you think?
I feel like Sam's story is the one that I probably believe the most. And a lot of comedians before, when they're quite young, they would do something like that, where they'd be like an undercover detective and then get a job at a place that is obviously...
He wasn't an undercover detective, to be clear. He was an interned reporter at a paper. What about Lee?
I think Lee's description of the behaviour of a traumatised frog was extremely believable and rather moving.
I think it's Diane. And she looks like someone that I would believe. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if she was dealing some cards...
If she was dealing some cards...
Receiving some cash...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you seem like you can tell the future.
Yeah.
OK, and you...
OK.
Yeah, let's go, Diane.
OK, we're going to go Diane. We'll go Diane.
You're going to say it's Diane? Dawn, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Dawn, and Diane ignored my warnings.
Yes. Dawn is Diane's mystic mate. Thank you very much, Dawn. Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, and we start with... It's David.
I once unwittingly ran through my school naked.
Lee's team. What do you think?
Why?
I was a child.
What age?
9. And we were supposed to change after sport and have a shower.
What sort of school was this?
Was it a rough council estate school?
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No, it was a...
Oh, so this is all a facade?
Tell us about this fateful day.
Well, after sport...
What sport was it?
Polo.
Lacrosse.
The Crumpington toss.
I have a sense that it would have been hockey or football.
Did you love the hockey?
No. I hated football, and I hated hockey more because it was football, but people had weapons. After sport, right, you have to go into the classroom to change for the shower. And the shower... Yeah. The shower...
Is this one of these schools we're going to see on Panorama?
You changed for the shower in the classroom and then went down the corridor and into the showers.
What, naked?
You could take everything off except your pants. And then you go to the shower, you take your pants off, you have the shower, you put your pants on, you go back, you finish changing.
Right.
That was the system.
And so why aren't you wearing your pants?
Because when taking all my things off, I overshot.
Was this the first time you'd got changed for the showers?
No.
Well, then why did you not know?
Human error.
You rip off your pants, so you're naked. What happens next?
I head towards the showers.
Do you realise you're naked as you're walking towards the Do you mind?
Yes to both. Yes, I realise as I'm walking along.
Yes, you're embarrassed.
And yes, I mind.
And you were further than halfway. It wasn't worth going back.
I'm further than halfway. Nevertheless, I go back. I'm thinking, OK, once I get into the showers, it's fine. It's normal suddenly to be naked, if you can imagine anything so twisted. But then what am I going to do?
Surely you need a towel to dry yourself off.
That's a good point. I'm holding the towel.
Why did you never think to put that towel round you?
But putting towels around your waist, that's not... 9-year-olds don't do that. Wouldn't have the technique with the tucking it in or anything.
You couldn't work out how to put a towel round your waist.
What?
Isn't private education a wonderful thing?
What I was doing was running down a corridor naked, suddenly realising I'm running down a corridor naked and everyone else is running down a corridor just wearing pants.
Right.
I found that quite a stressful moment, so I didn't pause to develop the technique of wrapping a towel round my waist. What I did was I ran back and put my pants on.
How big of an event was it? Like, if we went to the school now, would they sort of be singing songs about this?
They would not, no. I'll tell you why. Nobody noticed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right, Sam, what do you think?
I think this guy, he is such a little gentleman. I don't think he's ever been naked. I think he's always been wearing at least some long johns or a singlet.
If he's made that up, it just sounds warped.
But the guy is sick.
Diane, as a teacher, what do you think?
I think because you've never done it before, why would you do it this time? Yeah. So I think it's a lie.
I've known David a long time, and I know nothing about the school he went to, but this all makes sense to me. All of it.
If it is true, he sat on this for 18 series.
I know, but I think he's so traumatised, he's been able to shelve it.
No, I told this story years ago to the production, and for whatever reason, they never wanted to use it. But the time came where there was literally nothing else true about me apart from this grotty little moment, this formative moment of secret humiliation. And they thought we're going to have to see if that comes out in a way that is in any form broadcastable.
When you tell this story, were you lying down on a leather couch? You both think it's a lie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with my team, but Oh, God, it's true.
You're saying it's a lie?
I say it's a lie.
We're saying it's a lie, David.
It's a lie.
Was that story a lie or was it true?
Oh, God, it's true.
Yes, I'm afraid it was true. David did run naked through his school. Next, it's Sam.
Oh, gosh. OK. I only found out this morning that David Bowie is dead.
David's team.
OK.
Wow.
How did you find out?
Yeah.
My friend brought him up.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were talking about that...
Your friend brought him up. This was Mr. Bowie Senior, was it?
Yeah.
So when you realised that David Bowie had gone, how did you feel?
It's really hard to say with words.
Would you like to tell me through the medium of dance?
I could make just a sound.
Please.
Oh.
It was very, very sad. Too soon.
Wait, it's my second favourite David.
Who's your first one? It's quite a big figure to die, though.
It is.
But you don't have to be a David Bowie fan to know that he died.
That is
years
true.
ago.
I am not a fan, and I knew that
And
he
you
died
knew?
8 years ago.
What didn't you like about him?
I just don't... You know, he hadn't chosen to be a novelist. He could have done a sitcom, couldn't he? Make the effort.
Good point.
Oh, another song. Great.
Even if that were to be true, you would never admit that.
If you say a person, I'll say whether I think they're dead or not.
OK, go on then. Michael Jackson.
Dead.
Prince.
Dead.
Winston Churchill.
Alive in our hearts.
Yeah.
So is this a new round?
Right, it's time. What are you going to say, David?
I think it's a lie.
I think it's a lie.
I think on the balance of probabilities,
Yeah.
we have
They
to
think
go
it's a lie. OK, Sam, truth or lie?
Oh, yeah, it's a lie.
It's a lie. Sam knows that David Bowie has passed away. Oh, that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show. I can reveal that David's team have 3 points and Lee's team have 2. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.